Welcome back, polish freaks. Today I have another nail polish review as always for you guys. I have the new Essie Gel Couture Pattern Play collection. So this is an interesting collection. All the shades seem very fallish and they're a little bit grungy-ish too. I seem to always add ish to my words and someone commented about that and I totally do. But anyway, so I don't know if this is just late and it was meant to come out in the fall or what. So I haven't really figured out quite the pattern of the Essie Gel Couture launches. So I should probably do a little more research about that and figure out like how often they are released. But I feel like Essie is just pumping out so many collections, like collection after collection. I've got a few more that I need to get through for reviews for you guys as well, like Swoon in the Lagoon. And then there's a new Essie Expressy collection that's coming out soon. A lot to get through. But I really like this one. I purchased this at Ulta and they do have quite a high price there at Ulta. I'm not sure. I'll put links down below of other places I find them available. I'm not sure if Beyond Polish is going to carry them or not. Hopefully they will because you just can't beat that price. I'll put all the links, all the info down below, and I'll give any updates on my Insta stories. If Beyond Polish carries them, I will let you guys know on there. So I have a lot of updates of where things are available on my Instagram page, and that's Go Polish. Okay, if you do shop at Beyond Polish, you can use my code GOLARI10 and that does give you a discount on full priced items, which are already discounted even though they're full price. But anyway, let's get into the review. These are my kind of colors, they're my kind of vibe, they're very fallish. Like I said, and they're sticks and they're all cream, so this totally made me happy. Some are kind of original, some maybe are not. And so let's get into it. The first one I have is Totally Plaid, and it's this beautiful olive green color. There has been a lot of olive green colors that come out lately, and this one is really pretty, you guys. I really liked it a lot. I love olive green though, you guys know this. It's got a beautiful formula. It's going to be opaque in two beautiful coats. It just goes on so nicely. It's slightly curly-ish, and that's another reason that I love this one so much. I do like to wear these for fall. I feel like I like to wear the warmer greens, like the khaki greens, more in the fall, and then I like to go cooler as we get into winter. That's what I'm kind of finding is typical for me. And so I like the more blue greens in the winter, and I go deeper in the winter too. So this definitely is a color that would be perfect in the fall. And I think it's a good transition color as we go from like winter to spring. So this is a beautiful one. Is it original? I'll let you guys see that. Okay, so I've got two sets of comparisons to actually share with you guys today because there are a lot that I just really wanted you guys to see. With this first set, I have Essie Expressy Precious Cargo, and that's very close, just a touch lighter and maybe a little bit more yellow. And then OPI Rolled Down the Window is very close. Probably the closest, but it is a touch darker. And then OPI Susie, the First Lady of Nails, is darker, and I love this one so much, you guys. Every time I use it, I'm like, oh, I just really do like this one a lot. So OPI does tend to have more of those olive green. I think it's good that Essie is adding more because this one maybe is a little bit different, but let's get into that second set of comps and that will show some more Essie. So I have Win Me Over, and that one's lighter and more of a true green. And then Heart of the Jungle has more blue in it and it's more rich, and Exposed is more of a gray green, but it's still a khaki. But when you see it next to Totally Plaid, that shows you how much gray's in it, even though it's still kind of green. So a lot of the Essie shades that are green, they don't have a lot that are super khaki. They're just a little bit different. OPI tends to have more. So I think it's great that Essie is adding some more of these khaki greens, and they're all just slightly different, but I wanted to show you guys those comparisons and hopefully that was helpful. And then we have All Checked Out, and it's this beautiful kind of mousy brown, and it has a little bit of purple in it. It's so beautiful. I love this one so much. I love colors like this, especially this time of year, like fall all the way up to spring, or when I like to pull these out. And this has a beautiful formula just like all the other ones. It's going to be fully opaque in two lovely coats. This does seem to dry a little bit darker than it appears in the bottle, which I found with quite a few polishes I've painted with recently, and it always kind of trips me out. So it does go a little bit darker. So even though in the bottle it looks similar to some of the other ones that I have, or maybe a little bit lighter, on the nail it looked almost the same, and I'll show you those comparisons in a second. So I found that very interesting that it did dry down a little bit darker than it is actually in the bottle. When I first initially looked at this, I thought it had more purple than it actually does, and maybe it's the fact that it dries down darker that it kind of took that purple hue away a little bit. But when I compared it to some of these other browns, you're going to see it's actually a lot closer than I thought, and it had a little less purple than I thought. But Essie doesn't really tend to have a lot of these kind of brown shades, so I think it's good they're adding this. I know OPI has a little bit more. I have two sets of comparisons for this one as well. Okay, so let's get into that first one. The first one I have Mink Muffs, of course. That was the first one I thought of that it might be close to, and that one's more muted, a little bit dusty, and a little lighter. And then I have That's What Friends Are For. I love that polish polish so much. It's one of my favorites. It's a touch darker, but very, very close. I was really surprised to find it was so close to this because I thought it might have more purple, but it really, really doesn't. And then Truth or Bear is even lighter than Mink Muffs. And then I have Squeaker of the House, and that's kind of close, but a little bit warmer. And I wanted you to see how it compared to Overture the Top, which is a more recent release from Essie Gel Couture, and that one's more red. I love that one so much. And then we have Rooting for You, which is also a beauty, and that one's more red. I love everything on this hand. Everything on this hand is gorgeous. I just really do think it's nice that Essie Gel Couture has a brown like this in their Gel Couture line. And it does have just a touch of purple, but it's not as apparent on the nail as it is to me in the bottle. So let me know what you think about this one. I really do like it so much. It's one of my favorites from the collection. And then we have a Chevron Trend, and it's this beautiful kind of raspberry shade. So when I looked at it, I was like, oh, this isn't unique. There's a lot of shades like this out there. This one does have kind of a sheerish, crelly-ish formula, which is really nice. I just love that. It's so close to one coat, but because it's a little bit crelly-ish, you're gonna need two to build it up, but it just builds up so beautifully. And I love these kind of shades, especially as we get into like the Valentine holiday, and in the winter I like to wear a lot of these raspberry shades as well. So this one's really pretty, even though it's not like super unique. I did comparisons to this. They're all a little bit different. I really couldn't find one exact, but there's got to be something out there exact. I mean, it's just a raspberry shade. It's not too original, but I'll let you see what kind of color tone it is compared to all these others that I have here. So the first one here, I have Raspberry, and that's very close, a little bit lighter. And then I have Miami Beat, which is one of my favorite kind of raspberry shades, and that one leans a bit more purple. And a lot of the Essie shades that I looked at for comparisons leaned a little bit more purple as well. So it was kind of hard to find one exact. And then I pulled out OPI Madam President because it kind of reminded me of that one. I love that polish so much, you guys. If you don't have that one, it might be a little hard to find, but it's just a really, really nice one. And that one's brighter and more pink. It's so pretty. So like I said, in these comparisons, there's not anything that's exact, but there's gotta be something out there that's exact like this. And all the Essies I had leaned more purples, but I really do love these raspberry shades. Okay, then we have Fab Florals, and this is a beautiful kind of muted orange. It's a little bit darker, kind of terracotta-ish. There's the ish again. Anyway, it's beautiful. It's not super unique to Essie. I mean, it's maybe slightly different than some that I have, but I'm going to get to that in a second. It's even pretty close to an Essie Gel Couture polish. But I really do like this. The formula is fantastic. It's going to be opaque in like 1 to 2 coats. Let me check on that. Yeah, 1 coat. I think I did 2 for the picture swatch, but it's pretty much opaque in 1 coat. So here's what I compared it to. Of course, I pulled out Plain Koi. That one's really close to this one. That is a little bit richer and a touch darker. Another one that I thought of off the top of my head was Head to Topaz, and that one's very close. Probably the closest, but still not as muted, so they're not exactly the same, but they're pretty close. So if you have that one, you might not need this one. And then I put Essie Let It Slide, and that one's lighter and more yellow toned. So not super original to the Essie Gel Couture line. I do like how this looks with all the colors in here, especially for fall, and I don't know if that's what they were going for, just like a cohesive collection, and they didn't think about it being so close to Head to Topaz. But anyway, if you didn't get Head to Topaz, then you can probably pick this one up. It really did have a fantastic formula, and it's a beautiful shade. And then we have Paisley All the Way. This one's so beautiful, you guys. I love this kind of shade any time of year, and the formula is fantastic, you guys. This one just kind of was one that I painted and was like, wow, this is amazing. It's a red kind of tinted purple, so a lot of the purples I have are a little bit cooler. This one's a little bit warmer, so it has a touch of red. I just love it. I don't really know what else to say about it. So let's get into those comparisons. I compared it to Skating on Thin Iceland, and when I put it on, I was like, I know why I love this polish, because it's very close to that one. And that one's a little bit harder to find. I haven't talked about that one in a while just because it is a little bit harder to find. They're slightly different, but they're very, very close. And I think I could even go as far to say that I like Paisley All the Way better than that one. So that makes me super excited because this is definitely one of my favorites. And then I also compared it to Turn and Pose, which is Gel Couture, just because I wanted you to see it next to another Gel Couture purple. And that one's a little bit more muted and a little bit more blue. And then I compared it to Designated DJ, and that one's fairly close too, but it's a little bit darker. I love this one. It's one of my new favorites. It's my new favorite purple, I think. Especially fall purples. Like, I love these red toned purples in the fall, and you gotta get this one. It's good. And then we have Electric Geometric, and it's a beautiful, beautiful coral shade. I love to wear corals in the fall too. I keep talking about the fall. The fall's already happened, but this totally just gives me fall vibes. The formula on this one is fantastic too. I love corals. I just love them. They're so fun to wear and paint, and they're just beautiful and bright, and I just can never get enough of them. I had pulled out this huge pile of Essie corals. There's so many coral Essies, but there's like peach leaning corals, orange leaning corals, red leaning corals, pink leaning corals, and this one I think for sure falls in the red leaning coral pile, so I had to kind of sort out which ones were close. I mean, they're all very close, you guys. It's almost like doing comparisons for just reds. There's getting to be so many corals. And so I did a few comparisons just so you could see the pink and orange and red coral differences. And so for this first comparison, I compared it to Too Too Hot, and that one does have a more jelly crelly formula, and it's slightly more red, but it's a similar color. And then Color Binge, which is one of my favorites, leans more orange, and then Eclair My Love is more pink leaning coral. So then I have this other set of comps that were like the closest out of all the Essie ones, and I have it compared to Hiking Heels here, Geranium, and Fifth Avenue, and I'll let you see if you can see the differences in those, but they're all very close. In fact, I didn't even write in my notes the specifics because I think they're so close. So if you like one of those shades and you want a coral in the Essie Gel Couture, then you'll know you'll like this one. So hopefully that makes it helpful for you. And like I said, Essie has a million corals, but they're all really good. I love all of them. Okay, so that's it for the review. Let me pick my favorites. I kind of talked about them as I went through, but I'm gonna pull them out, and I love them together, you guys. I always love my favorites together. Look how beautiful. So we've got this beautiful purple here, and that's the Paisley All the Way, and then we have the Totally Plaid, and then we have this mousy purplish brown called All Checked Out. So those were definitely my favorites from the collection. If you're gonna get any, I would say get these. And of course, this is just my personal preference. All the formulas on these are really great though. And what did you guys think about this collection? I don't know, I'll be curious to do a little more research and see if this really was meant to be a fall collection. It's just late due to all the shipping problems that we're having lately, but it's just really a great collection, and I'm excited to wear some of these. I think I'll wear some this winter possibly, or maybe as we get into spring. We'll have to see. I got a long list of polishes to wear, but anyway, let me know down in the comments below if you think you'll pick any up, or if you like this collection, and if you like the Essie Gel Couture line, and if it's maybe one that you stick to all the time. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next review, and we'll see ya. Bye, Polish Freaks.